Hi, and welcome to the second episode of the Overwhelmed Vet podcast. So I already started recording this once, and then a lot of things happened. My daughter called me on Messenger, and my husband came in to get something, and I was just like, okay, I'll just start all over again. But now it's going to be so much more organized because of that. There are three things I want to convey to you today that I think are very, very important. And I'm going to start out giving you two examples of where this happened and why it's important to know these three things. You'll understand once I tell you about it. So a couple of months ago, I do ER, right? I work 1 week a month and then 3 weeks I'm off. So the week I'm off, I work nights, and we had a dachshund in that needed a C-section. She was in pretty bad conditions because I think she had an oxytocin injection in the morning, and then the owners for some reason waited, I don't know how many hours before they brought in, where she had been like pushing, and the puppies were not doing that great. So we rushed into C-section, got her through. She was okay. The puppies were really, really, really weak. And my amazing kennel assistant, Charlie, shout out to Charlie, managed to get the very last of the puppies to breathe and scream again, which was amazing. So we were so proud. We did a really good job. We were fast in and out, and it just went amazing. And we saved mom and all the puppies. So gave them back to the owner, and we were now expecting chocolates, and card because it went so well. Anyway, I go home for my 3 weeks. And then I came back, which was, I think, the last shift. And when I come back and shift, I like to just go through some of the cases I've dealt with to see, did they come back for checkups, and how was that? And, how are they doing? Any feedback, anything I can learn? And inevitably, sometimes things didn't go that well, right? And this dog, the dachshund, came back for several post-op checkups. And the donors, I think from the story, it didn't really make much sense why the owner kept coming back. She seemed to be doing fine. They said she was not eating, but she was actually gaining weight. So it was a bit like, okay, the puppy seemed fine, but then they decided to bottle feed the puppy. It was just like a mess. And in the end, there wasn't much described. I don't know exactly what happened, but then she went in and got operated for pyometra. And obviously my brain just went into full alarm, because now, what the hell, why did she get infected? What happened? What did I do wrong? Was the surgery not fast enough? Did I use the wrong sutures? Did I not flush enough? Should I have, the brain just goes in and just comes in with this whirlwind of thoughts. And then the shame just hit me of this, like, oh shit, how are my colleagues going to judge me now? They're going to think. And there was just this little second, right? And then I was okay, but my brain just went into, they're going to obviously realize now I'm not as good as a vet as they thought I was. And it's just hits you in the stomach. It's like getting punched. For me, it's like getting punched in the stomach, and it's just like, it's awful. You just feel like cold and warm, and, it just hits you, and all these thoughts, they're just like spinning around in your head. And I had to go for a walk in the morning then to clear my head. And then once I gathered my thought, I actually made an Instagram live around it, because I just wanted to like tell people like in real time how I process this. So I sat with the emotions. I realized what was going on, and I was like, well, okay, of course I feel like it's normal when you get unexpected, quote unquote, bad news like this, that you're going to react to it, right? The second case example I want to give you is one of my clients who is a horse vet. She went on holiday, and then she came back. We were coaching on this, and she had an email from a client requesting a meeting with my client, the vet, and a few of the other vets in this big hospital she works, because she had this horse in for a few sessions, and she's a really good vet, I think, from what she tells me. But for some reason, there's something really wrong with this horse. I don't know what. And the owner was given like 50% chances of recovery for this horse. And obviously the owner is upset about this, and she kind of wanted, like, I guess, a second opinion. And my client went straight as well to this spinning, this shame. What are my colleagues gonna think? And I'm just not enough. I'm just not enough for anybody. I can't do enough. Like, why does she want a second opinion? And there was a side note to this, which was that we have been coaching since August on how she needs to be better at setting boundaries for clients. So she's not always available. She didn't obviously take her phone with her, her vet number when she went on holidays. And then the email was there when she came back. And suddenly she doubted, like, oh my God, if I had been more available, would they then have requested this meeting? And we quickly decided that no, like, she should not have taken the phone on holiday, because then she can't switch off, right? And the second thing that was happening for her was that she thought that because we had done coaching for so long now today I'm recording this is the 1st of May, since August, right? That when something like this happens, when somebody criticizes or asks for a second opinion, or you get some bad feedback, that you should not longer feel bad. And she was worried that she might go back to how she was when we initially started coaching, which was like pretty bad, pretty stressed out, and pretty burned out as well. So I asked her as well, like, how long did this like shitty feeling last? How long did you feel like I'm not enough and I should just, go and work selling oranges, as we all do when we feel like this? And she said, well, it was a day. And I was like, it was just one day, right? Imagine. So, you know the tools, you're working on yourself, you know how to deal with these things and how to process your feelings. And now something like this hits you, which is pretty big, right? When somebody requests a meeting with the other vets from the practice about your case, I mean, that is something that will hit pretty hard. And it only took you a day to get out of this like, feeling shit. So what I want to convey with these two examples is that, first of all, working in this industry, and I guess working in anything, right? You will never get it 100% right. There's no way on earth that you're going to be able to work day after day, week after week, month after month, and just always get everything right. And even if you did, if you were this perfect human, there will always be somebody else's perception of what is going on that's going to be not 100% right. Because maybe sometimes if you're a woman, the client just wants some old white man to tell her what is happening with the animal. And that's the only way it can land for her in a way that she will accept it. Or maybe they have money issues and they go in to the consult with you with this filter on that vets are only in it for the money, and that's just the perception they have, and there's just nothing you can do. No matter how good you are and how good you are communicating, there will just always be people who don't agree with you and think that you're doing something wrong. So you have the chances of you making a human error, which is going to happen again and again, right? Because we are all humans, and otherwise just sit home and watch Netflix. That's the only reason that you will never do anything wrong in your life, right? Because you're not doing anything. And then you have the whole other side of people's perception of what you do and not accepting your diagnosis and not accepting the treatment or whatever, no? So that's the first thing. It will always happen. Shit will always hit the fan at some point, either by you or because somebody else thinks you're not done something right. The second thing I want to tell you is that you will never not feel shit when it hits. But the shit feeling will last less and less the more you work on yourself and the more conscious you are about how you're reacting, how you're processing your feelings, how you are thinking about it, how the more critical you can be of your own thought, the more you can like move away from the situation and get a perspective. The better and better you get at that, the less and less time it will take you to move through that shitty feeling. Because we are human, it's a normal response. I think if you didn't feel shit when somebody criticizes you or you find out the patient you worked on died or whatever, it would just not be human, right? And also, do you want to not feel shit when something happens, when something bad happens? Actually, I forget to breathe because I get so excited. I just have a sip of tea. Because it's important to me that you know this, right? Because I think there's not only does it hit us, like not only do we have this perception things shouldn't go wrong or people shouldn't think wrong about us, but then when something goes wrong, we think we shouldn't feel shit. Well, it's completely normal to feel shit. And I'm a coach. I've been working in this like for 4 years now, being coached inside out. I have so much self-awareness and emotional intelligence now. It's crazy, but it still hits me. It's just I get in and out of it much quicker. So that was the second thing. And the third thing is all this I just said, it means nothing about you as a person. It doesn't mean you're not enough. You have to be really careful about the meaning you put into either your own perception of yourself, like I should have done it better if I'd only done this soft tissue surgery course, the dog would have not died or something like that. Or when somebody criticizes you, like the meaning you give to it about yourself as a person and about your self-worth. And there's such a difference, right? You can be as a vet, you can have less experience. You can have different experience for someone else. You can have a really bad day. You have maybe not slept. Maybe you're thinking of something else, your kid is sick or whatever, right? And you can do maybe a pretty shitty job that day. It's possible, right? We're not perfect. But it doesn't mean that you are less than as a person. And the people that really burn out and get really stressed and go to the last act are people that take it, they internalize it. They think that defines them as a person or as a vet. Also because some of us are not, most of us are not that good at separating that identity as being a human, being a person, and being a vet. But a vet is just another thing you are. You're a parent, you're a sister, you're a brother, whatever you are. There's so many things you are. And vet is just one of them. So be really careful when shit hits the fan and not internalizing it and make it mean something about you as your character, your person, because it's just something that happens. And then you can decide the perception you want to have on it, right? I can't remember who said this. I've heard it so many times now, but like there's only one thing you can decide when you get up in the morning if you don't have control. Wait, I remember now. It was this film about a rodeo. There was a girl who was gonna win the American whatnot. And then she had a car accident and just became paralyzed. And then she ended up winning the American whatnot anyway, but like strapped to her saddle and using her hands on her voice instead. It's like a real thing on Netflix. I can't remember the name. And one of her final parting words in the movie was like, she cannot decide, make all the decisions. Shit will happen like it happened to her. But every day she can decide when she gets up what attitude she wants to have. What is your attitude towards life? And one of the attitudes you want to have is like deciding at the start of every day, you're not going to make any of this mean anything about you as a person, right? That was one of the things. So the three things I wanted to tell you, I'm just going to say it again, is one is don't think that something has gone terribly wrong or you're wrong and the world is not right when shit hits the fan and something goes wrong, because it will. Like, you will never get it 100% right every time. And people will not always get you 100% right every time. And the second thing, you'll never not feel shit when shit hits the fan. That is going to happen, but you can get much better at processing it and move through it. And the third is, don't make it mean anything about you as your worth as a person, separated from the situation that has happened. Decide what perception you want to have about it, but don't put so much meaning into it that it lands too deep and you internalize it. Right? That's all what I got for today. And I hope this really helped. I love that it happened to me with the dachshund, and then it happened to my client about the horse. And I was like, I just need to put these two together and then sum it up for you so you can see it. I think they're really good examples. Let me know. I don't know. Send me an email or shout out on social. And if you hear this podcast, then say what you think and give me other examples that I can do a podcast about.